I actually think this is going to be the first video I've ever made about something I didn't enjoy. And that's actually kind of a surprise considering what I'm going to be talking about was something that I really thought I was going to enjoy. But before we get started, let's get a little backstory. For those of you who don't know me very well or haven't watched a lot of my older videos, I'm a big World of Warcraft player. I have been since the game came out. I'm one of those launch day vanilla players. And not saying that like it gives any more validity to my opinion, because that's all this is my opinion. Just kind of giving you some backstory on how long I've been playing the game, how much I've been playing the game. And I did play a fair amount of vanilla. I was off here and there due to either not having internet or whatever else, but I played most of vanilla. I did get to endgame. I did raid. I was in a fairly good raiding guild. We did Molten Core, Blackwing Lair, Encourage. Had started Naxxramas before Burning Crusade came. So I did play quite a bit during the original vanilla. So I really had high hopes and I was excited about WoW Classic. And this time around I had my wife to play with, which made it even more exciting because she started playing during Wrath of the Lich King when I got her to initially try the game, and she started really enjoying playing it. So I was excited to get her to see the original classic version of the game. And of course Wrath had a lot of similarities to classic and talent trees and other things, but a lot had changed, as you guys know, from then to then. So I was really excited for her to see what the game was like in that earlier state. And when the beta came around, we both played and tried it and had fun with it. Of course, it was only the first few levels, and then launch, I was just waiting for launch so I could jump in, and I was going to make my original character that I was playing. Well, I actually had two main characters during vanilla. I had a Tauren warrior and a human rogue, and I was planning on playing Horde, so I made a Tauren warrior, and I said I'm going to remake this character, and that's what I'm going to play through. My wife made a troll shaman because she loves playing a shaman, and let's go. And I will say we had a good time for a while. We were leveling together. We had to start in our own zones because Troll and Tauren, obviously. We got through the starting zones. We met up later and started questing together, and we enjoyed ourselves a lot. We did some dungeons. We had a couple other friends that we were playing with, a couple that I've known since Vanilla WoW, and then a couple that I knew from live streaming and whatnot. And we were leveling kind of together. We were doing dungeons together. We did like Wailing Caverns and Black Fathom Deep and all that. And we were having a good time, continuing leveling. And I noticed the further along we got, even though we were getting access to more abilities and we were getting better gear and we were getting more into our classes, that I was just not enjoying myself as much as I had thought that I would. And for a while I couldn't really put my finger on why, because I did play on some private servers here and there for the vanilla experience and all that, and I always had fun when I did it, but I never really, I guess, played long term. So as I'm getting up higher and higher, we got to the point where we found ourselves just logging on here and there, playing for an hour, whatever, and logging off. And at first it was because we kind of gotten ahead of everybody else. We were high 40s, almost 50, and our friends were kind of behind us. We were like, okay, well, we can kind of slack off a little bit, let them catch up, and then we'll get back to it. But it just got to the point where we really didn't feel like getting on and playing anymore. And I feel like some of it is because, for one, even though the game is the same, the experience is not. So I go back and I think about why I was so excited about World of Warcraft when it came out. And a lot of it was, for one, I was really big into Warcraft at the time, and even StarCraft, Diablo, but I was really big into Warcraft, and to see that world come to life, like where you could actually be part of the world instead of, overseeing it from the sky, was just something that really pulled me in. And of course, the game itself was so different from all the ones that I played, because I had only ever played like 2 MMOs before WoW, which was PlanetSide and Lineage 2. And both of them were vastly different. Obviously, PlanetSide was a shooter, but Lineage 2 even very, very different in the way it played, and the world and the grinding that went on in Lineage versus the questing and all. Like, everything was so different from anything I'd ever played. It was like everything was this new, fresh, exciting experience, and obviously that wasn't there this time around, because I knew the whole world, I knew all the quests, I knew all the characters, I knew my character inside and out. I knew exactly what was coming up, what spell or what abilities were coming next, what armor pieces and what weapons were coming. And as much as I swore up and down that wasn't going to make a difference, it 100% did. And looking back, I really don't know. I think a lot of it too is because vanilla was just not that great as far as the roles that you could fill in the class that you were playing. So everybody knows, if you played X class like a paladin or a shaman or a druid priest, like, you were going to be a healer, right? That was going to be your role, because that was what you were most useful in doing. If you were a warrior, you were going to be a tank or an off tank, because that was what you were most useful. Of course, Fury warriors are insane DPS, and everyone ended up as Fury tanks at the end, it seems. But so everyone was kind of pigeonholed into their roles, and you were very, kind of stuck with one spec, one perfect cookie cutter spec. And I think that was a lot of it. Like, I knew that once I got to max level, it was going to be time to, go full into tank mode, tanking dungeons and trying to get geared up so I could tank more. And it's like the more and more I thought about it, I just was not really as interested as I thought I was going to be. So I just think that, honestly, maybe I hyped myself up a little too much, and I should have seen that coming, to the point where it really didn't live up to my expectations. And I hate to say it, because I was always one of those people who praised the classic idea. And I'm not saying that was a bad idea. I still think it was a great idea, and I see so many people who have enjoyed it, even up to this day, now that all the content is out and it's essentially, kind of the end of classic at this point, that people have still been playing this whole time and really enjoying it. So I definitely do not think it was a mistake to do whatsoever, and I am looking forward to Burning Crusade Classic. And now getting into that, I'm this time trying not to get myself too excited about that or look too much forward to it, because I don't want to run into the same situation I did with Classic. Because I know that I have a lot of great memories with Burning Crusade, and that might be, again, the reason why it's like, oh, it's so exciting, I can't wait to do it. So I'm tempering my expectations, and I'm pulling back, and I'm planning on playing it, but I'm not going in with any high expectations this time. But the thing that I am looking forward to with Burning Crusade is the fact that all the classes were, quote unquote, fixed to where you could be a protection paladin, you could be, a shadow priest, you could be an enhancement shaman. Like, all these classes were very useful to have. And especially, Shadow Priest and Enhancement Shaman were 2 classes that I played quite extensively and raided with during Burning Crusade. So it's really nice to know that if you do play a certain class, you have options rather than just being stuck doing one thing. And I think, again, going back to what I said about Vanilla Classic, that was my biggest thing. Is like, I knew that once I got to max level, this is what I had to be. Whereas at least with Burning Crusade, if I level a Paladin, or whatever, let's use Paladin, I can be a tank if I want to, or I can be Retribution if I want to, or I can heal if I want to. All of them are good enough, viable enough in endgame that you can do it without it being a huge detriment to everybody else in your group. So I'm pretty excited about that, but again, we're going to temper our expectations and we're going to see how it goes. But here's my big question to any of you who do play WoW or WoW Classic or are looking forward to Burning Crusade. I want to know what everybody really thinks about the whole changes versus no changes, because there's been a lot of talk about how trying to do no changes ended up hurting Vanilla Classic a lot. And of course, there was a big thing about not having any changes. We want everything the same as it was, and obviously it wasn't 100% that way because it couldn't be done 100% that way. But I think they did try to do it as close to that as possible. So with Burning Crusade, do you think that they should do the same thing where they try as best as they can to keep it 100% no changes? Or do you think that they should allow some changes or allow some additional content or allow maybe some missing content that wasn't able to get there to be brought in? Um, Honestly, I think that'd be kind of cool. But I'm kind of curious to what everyone else thinks. Like, what's the general consensus on that? But yeah, at the end of the day, unfortunately, WoW Classic just didn't really click for me. I did try to make some alts. You know, I made a rogue, I made a warlock, I made a hunter. I tried playing different characters to see if maybe that would kind of spark something, and just nothing really ever did. So unfortunately, it's going to kind of fall to the back for me as something that was a good idea or something that I thought I was going to enjoy and just didn't end up panning out for me. Which is, again, I can't believe, because I go back and I play, you know, you guys know I play Warhammer Online, I play all these older MMOs, and I always have a blast when I go back and play them on these private servers, but for some reason, live Classic WoW just didn't do it for me. But I want to thank you guys for watching, as always. I appreciate you. Everyone who's subscribed and comments and likes the videos, all that, you're awesome. I'm looking forward to getting back into the swing of things more here and trying to get in some more streams. So hopefully we'll see you guys there too. But until next time, you guys have a good one.